Fantastic, James, but not as fantastic as that coat. Man, where do we get one of those?
You got to ask your tailor, Rowan.
Sensational. I bet Donald Trump wished he had one of those. Maybe he does out the back there somewhere. Terrific stuff. Thank you. Now, long-term viewers of Outsiders will, of course, remember both of our next guests. Both Benji Irby and Shemeka Michelle from the States have been on the show many different times. They got together and travelled down to, well, in fact, Benji's got some news for us about why he was travelling out of New York, but they went to a Black Lives Matter rally in search of some blacks. Here's what happened.
There's a whole, Black Lives Matter protest going on in front, I don't know what statue or what the hell, I guess that, I don't know what that is, but they are protesting, but there are no black people. Right. How are we the only black people that happen to stumble upon this Black Lives Matter protest with no black people? This is
foolishness. Oh, there go one. I'm like, there's one with a little afro.
Okay, there's one. I'm like, okay, but this makes no sense.
Well, here they are, Benji Irby and Shemeka Michelle together on Outsiders. Great to see you both. How are you both? Shemeka, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Rowan. I missed you.
We've missed you, and you've been very busy. You've been talking at rallies and all sorts of things. We'll talk about that in a second. Benji, how are you? You've got some very big news for us.
Yeah, I'm doing great. As you can see, I'm in a different background because I have finally given up on New York. I actually left when de Blasio defunded the police. That was kind of the last straw for me. So I look for better pastures in Virginia. And I'm actually not at my new apartment that I did a video about. If you guys know more about that move, at Real Benji Irby on Twitter. I'm actually at my parents' house celebrating the 4th. So I'm doing this from my parents' house in Virginia Beach.
Well, fantastic. Benji, say good day to your parents from us. Now, Shemeka, tell us about how you went looking for that Black Lives Matter rally and what a joke it was. Tell us about it.
It was hilarious. Benji actually wanted to go to get a picture in front of the state capitol because, as he says, he's a nerd. So he drugged me down there and we ran into this crowd and we were trying to figure out what is going on. And it wasn't until we walked up on them that we actually saw them holding Black Lives Matter signs, but there were no black people. And so we just thought that was completely hilarious and foolishness, as I said.
Did you actually go up and were they shocked to see, did you two rock up to the rally? Did you get any looks, any comments, Shemeka?
They didn't even talk to us. There was one lady who was not a part of the rally that engaged Benji in conversation, but none of the people that were protesting actually tried to have any conversation with us, which was surprising to me. You know, I was saying, if my Black life matters, why doesn't my black opinion? And so it was just, you know, it was amazing to me that it was like we didn't even exist.
Benji, so on a more serious note, what is the response? We've talked about this before, but how do you find now you've left New York, what is the response outside of the kind of leftist ghetto of New York? What is the response in mainstream America to Black Lives Matter rallies?
I mean, what's funny is that even when I was in New York and in, predominantly black neighborhood, there really wasn't much movement as far as the protests and all the crazy stuff. Most of the crazy stuff was happening, downtown in the richer and more white areas. I mean, and as this video shows, it shows that Black Lives Matter really isn't about black lives at all. It's really about Democrats trying to do a diversion in order to keep Joe Biden in the base. And we have to have something going. So we have to keep this, Summer of Love, Summer 68 repeat that we're trying to do in the hopes that maybe, just maybe, people will look at all this and think, oh, Trump is bad, let's vote for Biden. That's what this is all about. Biden's going to have to debate eventually. So I hope they're having a good time with all this racial crap, because it's going to come to an end, because people are going to see that Biden's brand is mush eventually. He can't run forever.
Rita.
Well, I am interested, Benji, in this phenomenon of the anti-racist racist. We've showed footage on this program of white BLM supporters berating, abusing, using terrible language against black police officers or even just black bystanders who don't agree with their activism. Can you tell us a little bit about that? The white saviours who, when you scratch the surface, they're the racists, not the people they're protesting against.
It's
Benji.
funny because it reminds me of what you often hear from Black people when they say that, white people stole our music and like rock and roll, and white people stole land and stole this, stole that. Well, now you have liberal white people that are stealing our struggle. We can't even have a struggle. Like the liberal white people just took it over. They're telling us how to do it. Like, this is how you protest. This is how we do Black Lives Matter. Oh, excuse me. That's why it was so funny about us running on that protest. And it wasn't even so much about the protest being ridiculous itself, which was ridiculous, but we also were laughing at the irony that me and Shamika together are the two Black people who happen to run, of all Black people in the world, to run into this Black Lives Matter protest with like no Black people. And we would definitely not be the two Black people that they want to run into.
Shamika, tell us about the rally you were speaking at. It's still July 4th there. It's Independence Day in the States. You've just been speaking at a rally. Tell us about it.
Yes, I had to speak at a freedom rally today in Southern Pines, North Carolina. It was sponsored by the Frederick Douglass Foundation of North Carolina and People for Awesome Schools. So I had to speak there earlier, and we had a great turnout.
And it went well?
It went very well, and we didn't have any protesters coming against us, so that was great.
Excellent. James?
Benji, I want to ask you about this because you left New York, my beloved New York as well, because it's all gotten so out of control. But isn't it ironic and really kind of terrible that the same sort of people who are saying Black Lives Matter, and they're largely a lot of middle-class white people, I think, who are trying to kind of get their own sort of intellectual jollies off of this, but when they start calling to defund the police, isn't it ironic that it will be the African-American communities who are hurt the worst by the very policies that are being called for by the people who claim to say that Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, it's actually hilarious you say that about the upper class white population of these protests, because I actually was, an Uber driver during both of the first Women's Day protests, the ones that I believe in the one in 2018, the one in 2019. And the people that I picked up from these protests were always going to, Cobble Hill, going down to Vinegar Hill, and all these like really, really rich white neighborhoods in Brooklyn, which is where, Hillary had her campaign headquarters. So, I do find it hilarious that it is them. And when you look at even all these protests and who these things affect. Before I left New York, and one of the things that, helped me make my decision was de Blasio defunding the police, because my car had been broken into twice, and I called the NYPD, nothing happened. One of the buildings that I managed, I took videotape of drugs being sold in the building to the NYPD, and nothing happened. So literally, the NYPD is doing absolutely nothing for people in New York, and we're all just sitting ducks. And as much as I would love to have stayed, as much as I would have loved to have tried to, help out the hood, quote unquote, per se, but I have to live as well. I can't live with my things being stolen, not be able to even have safety. And the tax money that we pay for the NYPD is clearly going to nothing. They're defunding it to do what? When they defund the police, the first thing that goes is training. So this whole thing is absolutely ridiculous, and it's funded by Marxists and anarchists and has nothing to do with Black people at all.
Well, Shamika Michelle and Benji Irby, thanks so much for chatting to us both. It's great to have you both on together like that. And Shamika, I hope the girls are well, and I hope you're both having a great Independence Day, and we'll chat to you both soon. And Benji, enjoy the new neighbourhood. Great news. Thanks so much, both of you.
I will.
Thank you.